Here's exactly how I rewired my brain to become not socially anxious at least 95% of the time. And when you think about it, that's quite a lot. Every 19 out of the 20 situations I get into, if it's a social situation, let's say I'm maybe talking to someone I don't really necessarily know very well, whatever the situation may be, this works 95% of the time. Now, I'm not going to tell you to become the confident person you want to be, to eliminate anxiety, you need to have a jack physique, you need to be making $1 million a month, you need to be a replica of Andrew Tate. I am not going to say that, because confidence is a mindset. Those things, those materialistic things can boost our self-confidence, of course, but it's not the root way to kind of eliminate anxiety. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the new perspective you need to quickly shift your mindset so you can talk to people without stuttering all the fucking time, so you can talk to people without the fear of judgment. But before I do get into it, if you haven't already yet, hit that red subscribe button down below. I've actually heard it's going to be white soon. It's going to be the white subscribe button. That is absolutely insane. Anyways, if you're watching this video, it might be still the red. Who knows? But I've heard that YouTube's updating their system to the white subscribe button now, which is crazy. But anyways, let's get straight into it. So I touched on the fear of judgment about 20 seconds ago. Now let's start with that. So the reason you're socially anxious is because of 3 reasons. The main 3 reasons, of course. The fear of failure or the fear of rejection. Those kind of align. The fear of judgment and the fear of criticism, which is a kind of aligned with judgment. So you could put these into 2 things. The fear of judgment and the fear of rejection. Yeah, keep those in mind. Now the reason we fear rejection and the reason you fear failure or whatever, judgment, one of those 4 things, however you want to say it, is because you fear death. The reason you are anxious is because you fear death. Now I want you to listen to me for a quick second here. It's not your fault that you fear death. It's actually your ancestors' fault. Yeah, because we have evolved into these beings. Because back in the day, you think 1,000 years back, thousands of years back, if we were judged, if we were rejected out of the tribe, we would be left alone. And that's where, the fear of not fitting in comes in. If we're not, thousands of years ago, if we didn't fit in and we got kicked out of the tribe, you're fucked. You have saber-toothed tigers chasing you. You have the megalodon in the ocean, all that type of shit, because you fear death. That's where the fear of, rejection, that's where the fear of judgment comes in hand. You actually fear death. You don't actually fear judgment. You fear judgment because you fear death. Because we have evolved into these beings to help us survive. That's a little quick science lesson for you. But I gave you the overall spectrum of why we feel anxious. Now, let's get into how we can overcome this. Self-confidence does come with achieving external things in the external world, building better habits, definitely. But it all comes down to a mindset too. I want you to think about this for a second. What if you stop labeling anxiety as a bad thing? And instead, you labeled it as a good thing. So whenever you started to feel anxious, you quickly labeled it as a good thing. Now, when we feel anxious, we are essentially, our minds are in the future, but our body is here right now. Yeah, you are here right now, but your mind, or the mind, is in the future. And that's why we feel anxious, because your mind doesn't know what the future or the now, they don't know, because the only thing that exists is the now. So if you're thinking about what Jake may think of me on Instagram, even though it's not here right now, what Jake may think of me if I stuffed up this presentation in front of him. Your mind thinks that's now, even though it's not. It's all a complete illusion in your head. So step 1, when you start to become anxious, if it's in the moment or if it's at home thinking about a future event, become aware of it. Don't try and change it, just simply become aware of it. Now, when you really start to feel anxious, become aware of it. And admit to yourself, I am feeling anxious right now. A lot of people say to not say you're feeling anxious because that just admits you're feeling anxiety. You're anxious. But no, Because we want to accept anxiety as it is. We don't want to try and eliminate it. We want to accept it because it's a good thing for us. Why would this wonderful universe adopt things for us, emotions, thoughts, if they were used as a bad thing, if they were used and here to harm us? It doesn't make sense. The only thing wrong with you is your perspective on that anxiety. Then, clearly identify what you're anxious about. Now, what are you actually scared of? And it usually comes down to, as I said before, the fear of judgment or the fear of rejection, which stems from the fear of death, which stems from your mind being in the future, not in the now. Because when we're in the now, there is no fear. Fear doesn't exist. The future will happen in the now. The past happened in the now. So Jack, what do I do when I observe the anxiety? I know I'm feeling anxious. I know my mind's in the future, but I'm here right now. What do I do, when I've realized this? Don't try and change anything. Just embrace it. Just embrace it. Embrace the anxiety. Even if it makes your heart go 250 beats per minute. Embrace that motherfucking shit. You can't change it. Don't try and change it, because if you try and change it, you're going to become more anxious because you're struggling trying to change it. You're worrying about the future, and then you're worried about yourself because you don't have the capability to stop anxiety. Once you've become aware of it, simply embrace it. Embrace being anxious. Who gives a fuck? You're going to die anyway. You're living on a rock. Just do it. You can't do anything. You can't do much to change it. You can't. Confidence is not how you feel, it's the way you react. And the best way to react to something like anxiety is to accept it for what it is and embrace it. With that said, I do have a free guide down below that will share insights on how to, build self-confidence more than what I will share in this video down below. It's completely free. It will be paid soon, so get it while you can, and it takes like 5 minutes to read. You might as well. Also, if you'd like to take this a step further and work with me personally to combat this social anxiety, combat this lack of self-confidence, lack of self-belief, I will work with you to shift your mindset, build better habits. If that sounds, interesting to you, go and book a call with me down below and we can discuss exactly how you can do this. With that said, I will catch you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.